Hello, and welcome to the Make a Difference Show, the show that brings you inspiring stories on how volunteers, nonprofit organizations, and local government are transforming lives and making a difference every day right here in Montgomery County. I'm your host, Florence Jewell. Today's episode is about service in action, from honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service through hands-on volunteerism to helping Montgomery County residents keep more of their hard-earned money through free tax preparation. Joining me in the studio are two incredible guests who are champions of community service, engagement, and outreach in Montgomery County. My first guest is Faith McNeil, manager of the Montgomery County Volunteer Center. We learn more about the Montgomery County annual Martin Luther King Day of Service and its impact on the community in our conversation. In the second half of the show, Eduardo Mendez of the Community Action Agency Volunteer Income Tax Assistance VITA program joins us to talk about how he and his team of volunteers are helping county residents file taxes for free and claim every dollar they deserve. Let's begin. Welcome back to the show, Faith. It's so good to have you.
Hi, Florence. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure. Faith, now I know you because I'm supported by you, but talk a little bit about you and your journey to the Volunteer Center.
Well, I'm Faith McNeil. I'm the manager of the Volunteer Center, and I've been with the county since 2022, so just about 4 years. And prior to my time here at the county, I worked in youth development with a local nonprofit, Latin American Youth Center. I also served as an AmeriCorps volunteer with a program called Public Allies and also a program called City Year. So volunteerism has always been something near and dear to my heart, and I'm so happy to be here.
Well, we're so happy that you are here and in the position of leading the county with volunteerism. So let's talk about Martin Luther King Day of Service. Just start with its purpose, its scope, and what you hoped the outcome would be.
Yeah, so the Martin Luther King Day of Service is a national initiative on Martin Luther King's birthday, which is a federal holiday. And on that federal holiday, we encourage folks to serve. So a lot of times you'll see that people will say it's a day on and not a day off. And so the MLK Day of Service, we really invite all folks in any community, in every community, to come out and give back. And so here in Montgomery County, we've been having an annual MLK Day of Service event that typically takes place at the Bethesda North Marriott, and it brings in somewhere between 2,000 and sometimes 4,000 people that come and complete projects that ultimately benefit the folks here in Montgomery County in our very community.
Anything special in terms of projects? You know, you talked about the size of the folks coming and then the project and who's going to benefit from it. So talk about anything unique or special in projects this year?
Sure. So the Volunteer Center has a relationship with over 1,900 organizations here in Montgomery County. And so typically we work with those organizations to identify our community needs, and then we will build projects around those needs. So you'll see projects that benefit folks that are without homes. You'll see projects that benefit children in foster care. You'll see projects that benefit folks that are looking for food. So it really just depends on the community need, and then we help to build those projects and host them on our day of service.
All right, and then the recipients from those projects, how do you go about determining who receives the results of those service projects?
Yeah, so we really do leave that up to the nonprofits. They are the subject matter experts when it comes to our communities and their needs. And so when we're helping to both fund those projects and build those projects, we leave it up to them to identify who those projects will benefit based on the folks that their organizations serve.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And then let's move into the volunteers that are needed. This is a show about volunteerism. How do you go about getting volunteers for this event with the number of service providers that will be attending?
So, like I mentioned earlier, we have a relationship with over 1,900 organizations, and that's through our online database that folks can find at montgomeryserves.org. Through that database, we also are connected to over 75,000 local volunteers. And so we use that tool or service to connect volunteers to volunteer opportunities, and we do the same for MLK Day of Service. So folks can look to our website, montgomeryserves.org, to find more information about MLK Day, but they can also find more information about other volunteer opportunities happening throughout the year.
Great. So you've got this digital platform that connects volunteers with service providers, and that same platform will be used for the MLK Day of Service. Is there any training that the volunteers will get for this specific event?
So what's really great about MLK Day of Service is that you can come as you are, you show up, and we can help you to just get right in on a project. We typically have 7 to 10 projects going on that day, and volunteers will come in and rotate between those projects. A volunteer would spend about 20 minutes at 6 different projects, at 4 different projects, and they'll get the training they need right then and there, whether that's through some sort of verbal instruction or there may be written instructions there at the table when the volunteer arrives.
Okay, so you've got it really organized and making sure the experience is very positive for the volunteers. Will there be are you able to tell any special guests that will be there, any officials?
So the county executive tends to join us on our MLK Day of Service at the Bethesda North Marriott. Outside of the county executive, we are also joined by other local officials. And right now, I can't say who those folks are going to be, but I will say that some of them will be in attendance on that day.
Okay, I just opened that up. I know that you probably can't. Now, let's go back to some of the volunteers. This is a big time where youth can come out and volunteer. Is there anything that you like to talk to our audience and parents about in terms of youth for SSL hours?
Absolutely. MLK Day is a great opportunity for students and their families to serve together, and for students to be able to come and get SSL hours. We work really closely with MCPS to make sure that all of the projects that are happening there are SSL approved. And so students that participate do receive 2 SSL hours for attending and completing those projects. Outside of that, students over the age of 16 can volunteer with the Volunteer Center to help behind the scenes. And so they can earn up to 6 SSL hours if they're interested in volunteering in more leadership capacity for the event.
Now, thank you for that. And we also know that the county is in need of support for a lot of our nonprofits, and I was looking at your site and I saw that you had an opportunity for volunteer fairs. I mean, it will be a volunteer fair. Can you speak a little bit about nonprofits who may want to come there and recruit volunteers or just talk about their mission?
Sure. So Martin Luther King, as we know, was an advocate for service. And so part of our MLK Day of Service initiative is to encourage volunteerism throughout the year. And so we do have our volunteer fair component at the Day of Service event where volunteers or participants can come and meet with over 30 organizations here in the county and learn about how they can give back and help out with those organizations over the year. During that time, they might receive information from those organizations, but they also may be able to sign up right then and there and sign up to volunteer on a day after MLK Day.
Okay, great. Now, again, I know this is a big event in the county, and we're looking forward to being a part of that with you. So, are there other organizations? I think there's something with the Human Rights Commission and you're working with other institutions. Can you shed any insights on that during the Martin Luther King Day event?
So the Office of Human Rights always hosts a big event at the Strathmore Event Center. It's a really nice event where they share more about the history of the Martin Luther King Day of Service and the county's involvement with Martin Luther King Day of Service. And so I always encourage folks to look out for more information on that event on their website. Outside of our large event at the Marriott, we also partner with some local organizations to host some larger events.
Right.
So there is an event at the Silver Spring Civic Building that is hosted by the Montgomery County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta. That is also an annual event, and that will be taking place on Martin Luther King Day as well. Or that typically takes place on Martin Luther King Day as well. We also have events that take place at local recreation centers, and also believe there will be an event this year at Montgomery College.
Okay.
And so you can always find more information about where other events are at our website, montgomeryserves.org.
Now, is there a specific location on the website that they should go to? I've been to the website, and
Yeah.
it's plethora of information.
It is, yeah. So I would say if you get to montgomeryserves.org, you can typically find Martin Luther King Day of Service right on the front page. But if you would like to dig a little deeper, at the top of our screen, there is a black toolbar where you can click events and find Martin Luther King Day in the toolbar or the option menu that comes up after that.
Now let's talk about some of the successes and challenges, because again, I know that you are phenomenal and you have a phenomenal staff and volunteers, but what are some of the challenges that you and your team face in putting this on? A lot of people don't know the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the challenges and then some of the successes.
Yeah, so the Volunteer Center, we are a small but mighty team of 4 individuals, 2 full-time staff, 2 part-time staff. And so we do all work really hard, all hands on deck to make sure that this is a very successful event. I would say one of our biggest challenges is what we don't know, and that's typically the end of January. We never know what the weather's going to be like. So an event this large that benefits so many people here in the county, it's always a daunting task to think about what our plan B is going to be. Putting on such a large event during the middle of winter. And so that's our biggest challenge. Some of our other challenges are just we have a lot of nonprofits that want to help. And so sometimes narrowing down the list of nonprofits that we're going to be working with, whether that be through hosting service projects or participating in the volunteer fair, can be limited by the space that we have. And so that can be a challenge as well.
Absolutely, but I know you're going to work through that, and if
Yeah.
there's someone out there want to help you with your contingency planning, they can reach out to
Absolutely.
you directly.
We always take more help at the Volunteer Center.
Okay, what are some of the successes that are memorable for you after hosting and preparing for this event?
I would say my favorite part each year at the Day of Service event is, it's a big event. There's a lot of folks. It gets the room can be pretty busy and loud, but once it's over and the room quiets down and you can look around and see what we accomplished that day, that is my favorite part. And I think one of my favorite projects is a project with Altrusa International. They do small treasures for children battling cancer. And so they always assemble these really, really nice hats for these children. And I love walking by their table and seeing what the volunteers have put together for those children at the end of the day. Also the wall of food that we've, assembled for snow day boxes for seniors that are homebound, or food for families that are connected to Montgomery County Public Schools. So that's always nice to see. But I just love seeing what we've accomplished at the end of the day.
It has to be an exciting day for you and the volunteers, and as they walk away from the event, a memorable contribution that they've made that they can last a lifetime.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to just do a quick rapid fire with you,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
have a list, and just say what's the first thing that come to mind.
Okay.
Here. And then we'll come back to some questions. I wrote it down here so I don't remember. Your favorite Martin Luther King quote?
My favorite is everyone can be great because everyone can serve.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. One word to describe Montgomery County.
Ooh, I don't want to go with the obvious. Let's see. A word to describe Montgomery County. I mean, the first word I want to say is diverse, but everybody says diverse.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to say seasoned.
Wonderful. Season.
Yeah.
Okay. What's always in your bag on the day of Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King Day of Service?
A black Sharpie. I will say that is a tool that can be used in so many different ways. So I always make sure to have a black Sharpie and probably tape and some scissors as well. But a black Sharpie for sure.
All right. And as we begin to wrap up, what is one thing that you would like for the audience to know and take away from this conversation?
Well, as I said at the beginning, Martin Luther King Day of Service is a day on and not a day off. And so, while most folks are out of work for the holiday, most students are out of school for the holiday, we do encourage folks to use that day to, if you can't get out in the community, think about ways that you can get out into the community on another day. Think about reflect on ways that you have given back, and how giving back isn't always giving your time or physical effort. It could be also advocating or, helping someone's voice be heard or, standing up for a cause. So use that day as a day on in some way, even if you're not doing your typical work or going to school.
Well, Faith, we're so honored to have you talk about MLK Day of Service, but more importantly, you are running the Volunteer Center for the county and bringing awareness about community service, civility, and civil service to the county 365 days a year and every day. So with that, thank you. Thank you for your leadership, and thank you for all you do for Montgomery County and our residents.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Stay with us. When we return, we're in conversation with Eduardo Mendez from the Montgomery County Community Agency VITA Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. Welcome back to Make a Difference. I'm your host, Florence Jewell. Every year, the Community Action Agency of Montgomery County helps thousands of residents file their taxes, claim valuable credits, and avoid costly fees, all for free through the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. Joining us in the studio is Eduardo Mendez. Eduardo is the program specialist for VITA with the Department of Health and Human Services, DHHS, Office of Community Affairs, Community Action Agency. He oversees multiple VITA sites in Montgomery County, ensuring quality, accuracy, and compassionate service for residents earning under $69,000. He is a CPA candidate, fluent in Spanish and Portuguese, and currently completing his MBA in Data Analytics and Finance. He has over 8 years of experience helping people file taxes for free. He is a passionate advocate for financial empowerment, immigrant access, and training the next generation of tax-prepared volunteers. And he's here to talk to us about how VITA is changing lives one refund at a time. Welcome to the show, Eduardo.
Thank you very much for inviting the program to talk about it today. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. I understand you've talked about this before, but I want to reintroduce the audience to you. So talk about your journey to VITA, and we'll get into deep dive around the program.
Well, 10 years ago, I used to be an intern. There's a internship for, it comes from a campaign, it's called Cash Campaign Interns, and they put us in different VITA programs. Since I'm from Montgomery County, I graduated in Montgomery County. I kind of was raised in Montgomery County, but I was going to school in Baltimore for University of Baltimore during that time, and they informed me there is a place here in Montgomery County,
Right.
and I didn't know Community Action Agency was part of the HHS. I didn't know they had a VITA program, so for me it was 10 years ago, And I think I did a good job because the last 5 years I became an employee of the county. So I guess they didn't let me leave because I did a good job for them. Yep.
Absolutely. We're glad you're still here. So let's talk about the VITA program and what it is and how people can get involved and get your assistance. So let's start with what is it?
Well, the Volunteer Tax Assistant, it's a nationwide program. As we remember back in the, I would say 30 or 40 years ago, we could go to the IRS and just ask them to do the tax return. If any of us do that now, they call us crazy, but they'll give us a list, which is called the Volunteer Tax Assistant Individuals VITA programs. And here in the county, we're very fortunate. We have AARP that does it. Us, Community Action Agency program, we have other programs as well. And the great thing about it here in the county, it's people who are very passionate to assist other individuals. A little bit about our program for others, we year-round program. So from January till April, we do the current tax year. We e-file, it's always the federal and state. And we stop a little bit because we have to get the data to the council, to the county government, and to the federal and our partners. Then from June to October, we do the back year taxes. So individuals that weren't able to do, the previous years or the amendment, or they couldn't do that year, we're able to assist as well. And one thing about our program is a little different than ours because we assist only Montgomery County residents.
Okay, and so you're year-round, but you do current and then previous years.
Yeah, because the demand is so big, and I know other programs try to do it during the tax season, but the demand in Montgomery County, it's like, what is it, 1 in 20, about 70, 80,000 people live below the federal poverty line. So it's so big here in Montgomery County. Even though, there's over 1 million people that live here and they need assistance. And there's not many of us that does this. So that's one of the decisions we made several years ago in the program. Let's assist everybody for that current year and tell them to come back between June and October so we can help them the previous year. Yeah.
That's an interesting statistic when you think of this county being a rich county.
It is,
And
yes.
then below the poverty line. So let's talk about the program. Again, you have volunteers, and how can people sign up to be a volunteer, and what are the positions that are available for volunteers?
Well, we also have the great help, the county. We do I would say a meeting release, but we do that in November. That's when we started. We did just orientation day. We also have our different partners, which is called Cash Campaign, which they're a big coalition, whole Maryland. And we also have the IRS. And we also have great thing about it. We have a good retention rate for our program.
Okay.
Close to 65-70% of our volunteers do come back, and that's a great thing. That's why our program has been successful over the years. Yeah.
And the volunteers, when they return, do they have to get recertified?
They do, yeah.
And the training around
Yeah.
that?
So people think the certification part of it, everything is done by the IRS. We do teach, but everything the government give it to us, the federal government. But we also teach how the program and how the site runs. Pretty much, but yes, when it's recertification, everybody got to redo recertification. We also do our standard conducts, which is pretty much ethical exam.
Right.
And then we also follow the policies that we do here for the county, because here in Montgomery County, once you're under the HHS, there's the whole ethic boards, and part of it that a volunteer must follow as well. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Now, you talked about federal. State, they have to be certified by the state as well?
No, since it is under the volunteer, like the VITA program, it's a nationwide program. It's also under, that also parts under the state of Maryland.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So
That's
if you have a
awesome.
VITA program, state of Maryland, the state recognizes as well.
A lot of people are doing, what we call the gig work, or, small business. They may not have earned over $69,000. Are you supporting them as well as individuals?
Yes. So yeah, that is right. Correct. It's $69,000 for next year for our program, and I think all the VITA programs as well. Gig work has increased a lot. We saw a 25% increase in individuals who do what I would say the Schedule C self-proprietor, just the gig work. So ourselves, we saw 25% increase. Just think about it, the other sites as well. And we try to make sure they do it the correct way, because in case they ever get audited, they have questions, me and you as a volunteer that does the tax return, we won't be there for them. But if we did it the correct way, the right way, the ethical way, they'll be okay. And we teach them how you do it in the future as well. Yeah.
Okay, so there is training. Okay. All right. Then, in terms of information, again, a lot of this is our private information. Want to talk a little bit about the security that you have and the challenge you may have with around securing the information.
That's a good question because everybody always asks us, like, this is volunteers, how are you going to make sure about it? But we also, not only the federal database, which is under the IRS, we also, anything that's under us, it's under the program. The program is called TaxSlayer.
Okay.
They won the bid a long time ago as the main software provider. There's other software, but TaxSlayer is the main one. So anything in that database is ours. We keep everything lock and keys in our office, and everything anything that's in the cloud is also safe as well.
Okay.
And our volunteers, once again, it's individuals. They don't come from the federal sector, individuals in the county itself. Yeah.
Okay, and we do have immigrant community here, so
Yes.
and they do pay taxes.
Yeah.
Are they still?
Everybody's welcome in our program. We follow the equity part of the county, the HHS, and it's the whole part of it as well. There's just the volunteers itself. I think there's about 9 dialects, different dialects in the volunteers. Like myself, I speak about 2 other languages besides English. But a lot of people that volunteer, they speak other languages as well. 2, since we're under the HHS, and also the IRS has what's called the language line.
Okay.
A lot of IRS via sites may be able to use it. But since the great thing about the county, we're under the HHS, we can use the language line, which is really great. It's anybody speaks a different language, they can talk to interpreter phone with the volunteer, and that has helped a lot because people come in different languages like they have no idea, but when somebody has an interpreter, they're like, it changes. Yeah.
Wow, it does. It changes a lot. I know I do the volunteer fair, and I see people with their phones scanning. Okay, we are coming close to wrapping up, but I do want to ask you a question around virtual and locations. Talk a little bit about virtual opportunities and locations.
Well, our locations are on Mondays, we're in Casey Community Center, which is in Gaithersburg. Tuesdays, we're in Tacoma, which is a test center location. And Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, we're in Rockville as well, in 1401 Rockville Pike, which would see our headquarters. And Thursdays, we are WorkSource Montgomery and Wheaton. And we do virtually on Fridays for individuals that are unable to come to the site.
And how can people get in touch with you?
Well, they can go to our site, www.montgomerycounty/cashback, or they just can call a number the first week of January to make an appointment, which is 240-777-1123.
This is such an important subject. Is there anything that you would like to tell our audience that I didn't ask you about?
Please use the service. This is a free service. If you're not going to use it, somebody else is going to use it. Once again, last year we completed 2,397 returns for Montgomery County residents, and majority of them make below 250% poverty level. So individuals, retired attorneys, CPAs want to assist you. If you want to pay somebody $500, that's fine. But we want to make sure it's free and we do it the correct way. Yeah.
Well, Eduardo, thank you for your leadership and leading this program. And as you said, it is free, so let's take advantage of it. And thank you so much for being on Make a Difference Show and making a difference, you and your volunteers.
No, thank you very much for inviting us, and information we can give to the community, as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
From rolling up your sleeves on the annual Martin Luther King Day event to rolling into annual tax season with confidence, Montgomery County is full of ways to serve and be served. I want to give a big thanks to our guests, Faith McNeil and Eduardo Mendez. A special thanks to our production and editing team at County Cable Montgomery, and especially you for watching. I'm your host, Florence Jewell. For more information on volunteering, go to montgomeryserve.org website or contact the Volunteer Center on 240-777-2600. Remember, change starts with you. Until next time, be inspired, involved, and be sure to make a difference every day.